I just told the kids outside, um, you know, uh, you're not ready for this. Some of you guys, especially Chase and guys, have heard this before. Um, you know, you don't have a speech for this, because like the rest of the 40 in that dugout and probably 12,000 in the stands. We didn't think we were going to lose, but unfortunately we did, and so you don't really have that speech prepared. But just I'm really proud of them. In so many ways, but the truth is, there were some older guys that didn't have to come back. It would have been easy to sign. It would have been easy to move on, and they chose to stay, and that's special. We had some underclassmen that could have went in the portal, but they chose to stay, and they stayed because they wanted something like they just experienced. They signed to come here and play in Swayze Field and play in front of 12,000 people. And for some of those, it hadn't happened in their career yet, and they wanted a part of that. And then the new guys, from freshmen to the transfers, everybody was awesome. You don't have the season that we had. You don't play as consistently as we did without having a great team. And to have a great team, you got to have some great leaders, and you got to have people that accept their roles. You get 40 people, and when you write the lineup, there's 10. So that means 75% of the guys don't get to play. And for those guys to accept the role, to believe in the system and the program and continue to fight, and put us in this position, to host a regional again at Swayze Field, to be a national seed, the number one seed, and then fight through. I mean, unbelievable regional. I don't know if every single game in the regional was just a great college baseball game, except for that game last night. I mean, just great baseball. And unfortunately, Murray State was really good this weekend, and they were the best team here. They played the best, and and unfortunately for us, that happened in our regional. And I wish him well. Coach Skirka, what a terrific job. But to handle the pressure, to play us three times, in front of 12,000 fans, and for his kids to play like that and hang in there, kudos to them. So, but I'm just really proud of our guys. I'm proud of the way they represented our university and the way they played baseball this year.
Just a ton of dogs. We're a close group. We're great friends, and there's no one else that I'd rather play with and take the field with every single day. At the end of the day, these are your best friends, and you come to the field with them, you leave the field with them, and you spend your time at the field with them. And outside the field, you're always with them. And just an unbelievable group of guys is an understatement, and it's honestly just a kudos to everything that Oxford is about. Just coming in as one, and you leave as one, and it's just the whole community here, and it's unbelievable. It's just a great group of guys, and it's gonna be tough to miss. It's gonna be hard.
Coach kind of talked about the seniors that came back, wanted to be a part of this. What did that mean to guys like you, who were the people asking, "Hey, I want you to come back"? What did it mean this whole season to have those guys kind of say, "I got you, I'll come back"?
I mean, it's everything. Guys like, you saw it all year. I mean, we have champions on this team, and when you have champions telling you to come back, and it's not too hard of a choice. They set the stage, and they lead from the front, and they're everything that a Rebel is about. And I can't thank those guys enough. They're the leaders of this team, and they do everything. Not everything, but they're great people, and they're great leaders, and I can't thank them enough. This team's not anything without those champions.
Anything else for Luke? Luke, how do you describe the emotions of you guys get down so much, and you're coming back, and the place is juiced, and everyone's just waiting for it to pop, and then it just comes up a little bit short?
It's tough. You're just kind of riding, trying to stay level-headed throughout the whole game, but you kind of, it's win or go home, so the pressure's on, stuff like that. But, just like I said, you just got to stay level-headed, and at the end it's tough. It's just all those emotions hit you at once, and yeah, it's a tough feeling. It's the only way to describe it.
Luke, how do you want people to remember this team?
We never give up. From the beginning, we were doubted. There was no expectations from the outside perspective with this team, and this team at the end of the day put their head down and went to work. I've never been around a group of guys that are so committed to their craft and so committed to their time and being here and wanting to perform for a great community. I just want to be remembered as people that don't give up, and I just want us to be a true definition of rebels. That's about it.
Anything else? Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Howdy toddy.
Questions for Coach? Chase, go ahead.
Like you mentioned, having the champions back and Mason and Hunter giving you outs. It's so hard to get them out already.
Yeah.
Speak to them a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, obviously those guys, but everybody. We emptied the tank, and when Joel and I talked last night, it's just too hard after the game. It's really late, and you're asking these pitchers to do something that they haven't done all year, and so a couple things. One, I think kudos to Coach Mangrum and being able to prepare them and have them in shape to be able to do some of this. But you can tell when guys are pitching second and third time out, it's just not the same stuff. And you might look on the board and look at the radar gun, but there's other things. It's the movement of the ball, it's the location of the ball, the sinker ball guys, balls are up, the guys that have ride in their fastball, the ball's not riding as much. It's just tough, and so a very good offense on the other side. Man, did they hit, and they hit really all weekend long, even yet last night. I mean, people forgot we scored a ton of runs, but so did they. And they were just terrific. But just proud of those guys. When we got here this morning and we talked about it, we weren't sure of a few pieces, how they would feel. Like you would expect, everybody wanted the ball. But in a lot of the measurements to see if their strength was there and so on, they were there physically and mentally, and so everybody wanted to be down there, in that pen and get on the field. So I'm proud of Hunter. I'm proud of Nichols. Hunter, on one day's rest, 100+ pitches to come out and do that. But for Mason with the injury, to pitch back-to-back days, we weren't sure what we were going to get from Mason. And of course he was terrific, but Maddox as well. All those guys took the ball. McCausland for the third time. It was just, we just got beat. I mean, you can try to dissect it all you want. They beat us, and it's tough to swallow right now. But you got to tip your hat to the team that played the best.
Back row, second down my left.
Mike, okay. You've led this team here for a while, and you've seen the highs and the lows of leading the Rebels program. But what was different about this year's team that you will look back and remember?
Some of the things I've said earlier, about how consistent we were throughout the season, just a really neat group. Those older guys coming back was special. That doesn't happen a lot. But three of those guys, were there, in that dog pile, a few years ago. And they never really said it to me, but, you could sense that they didn't want the last couple of years to be what they were remembered for, and, they came here to win a championship. And then once you win one, you want to win another one. Obviously, things haven't gone as planned the last couple of years, but to get Elliott back, Nichols back, Maddox back, to get Spence back in the bullpen was terrific. I think that's the easy thing, but I think you can hear from Luke, one of the things that's special is there wasn't a lot of expectations. They thought they were good. when we started the season. They thought they could beat anybody, and we found that out very quickly, when we went to Dallas the first weekend. That's kind of neat, that how they, I don't want to necessarily the chip on your shoulder, but one of those where it was one of the mantras, we talk about shower well, but the other mantra of the team that's on the shirt is, our dugout versus, everybody else. And you can take that a lot of different ways, but, it was not to listen to the noise. Don't listen to the polls. Don't listen to any of those things. As Luke said, just keep your head down, go to work, and play hard and win baseball games. And they did that.
We'll stay up top for our line.
Coach, we talked about the evolution of Walker Hooks. What is it about him that makes him, as a freshman, someone that you guys trust to put in like an SEC championship game to start and the winner take all?
Yeah, he's been in a lot of big moments this year. Obviously, starting the championship game a week ago in the SEC tournament. But one of the things is obviously we wanted to go left-handed, and he was the lone left-handed bullet. We contemplated starting Morse, and we knew that they would be the first two guys out. But how would we use it? And really, if you really want to dissect it, the choice was we like both of them. We like the left-handedness of Hooks, but Morse has more swing and miss, and he's been in that role all year long. And so if we got in a jam, he would be better to get us out of the jam. Unfortunately, their offense was too good too quickly, and we couldn't get him on the field before 5 runs were across the board. They scored 2 in a second, and this is not to take anything away from them, but I thought Hooks pitched well. They had 3 infield hits, there in the second inning that scored a couple runs, but then he went out and gave up I think 3 doubles in a row, and tried to get Morris in there. And that's another thing when you get to the final day, you got to be careful of getting the bullets, ready to fire. Once you get them hot, they got to go in. And so you try to pick the right times. And, offensively, I looked up in the 5th inning, they had 14 hits. We had 2 in the 5th. And, so it was just, they were really good.
Last one, all over there.
Coach, I was going to ask you, you guys put up 19 on those guys last night. Is there anything tangible you could point to today? Quality of bats, guys being tight, whatever it might be, why it took so long for your offense to get going?
No. They pitched their number 1 and their number 2, and their number 1 and number 2 pitched like number 1s and number 2s, and you could see that once they got a little deeper into the game, things started to change. They got the closer who's pitched for 3 times, and so they were got a little bit like we did, and that's probably why the score got so tight at the end. But no, it's not approach. It's not quit dissecting so much of that. They played better than we did, and that's the bottom line.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, guys.